and looked at the world with fresh eyes? What if you looked around you and everything that's there, everything we do throughout the day, and the way we do it, what kinds of things would you look at and think, we can do better than that? A child might ask a parent, why do we do it that way? And a parent might respond, it's just the way we do it. It's the way things always have been done. It's the cheapest way to do it, and there's no way to change it. This is the stuff I've said to my own children, and it makes me sick. It makes me feel sad and hopeless. I took a look around me and thought about what it would mean and what it would look like to live in a world where things make sense, where the planet and its people were healthy and thriving. What would it look like? What would it look like if we did the right thing?
There you go.
I feel like we should shake ourselves awake. What are we doing? Every day, in our actions, in our every moment, everything we do throughout our day. What are we doing, and how does it affect people around us and the planet? Our government needs an update. My campaign for running for governor is a piece of the puzzle, a step along the path to my vision of fixing things that are wrong in the world, in our country, in our state, in our homes, and in our individual lives. It means letting go of things that no longer serve and making way to let in things, ideas, policies, and technological innovations which will lead the way into a healthy future for everyone. My priorities as governor address what I believe will help our state recover from its current downfalls and grow and prosper as we move into the future. The first thing I feel like we need to address is equality. There should be equality under the law or no law at all. The law should be good enough and apply to everyone or should apply to no one. Period. Metal fingertips. The next most important thing, the most important issue that our government can affect is the environment. We need clean, renewable, and cheap or free energy. This will be the foundation for this modern way of life that is my vision. A step in the right direction is to end cannabis hemp prohibition in Kansas. Our farmers should quit growing water-intensive cotton and corn and switch to hemp. Hemp products are cleaner, cheaper, and superior quality to their competitors. Hemp, when it grows, will clean our soil and clean our air, revitalize and regenerate the soil, and it's a plant that's useful from root to tip. We should make a commitment to preserving our water resources and clean up our existing waterways. Hemp will begin the cleanup work in our air, and technology will take care of the rest. The governor appoints the Secretary of Agriculture and members of lower committees within the department. I would work to clean house in the Department of Agriculture. We need scientists and farmers serving to monitor and regulate our state, agriculture in our state, not businessmen who have ties to mega corporations, whose interest is in growing their business and increasing profit margins, not preserving our natural resources. If I am elected governor, we will see real changes right away. Farming and ranching in Kansas will return to its traditional roots, marrying the benefits and information that technology can offer with traditional knowledges and practices. This is the reform and modernization Kansas agriculture needs to become sustainable. Like the saying goes, we do not inherit the earth from our ancestors, we borrow it from our children. Under my leadership, Kansas agriculture will revitalize and become sustainable. We need jobs and a marketplace that are good for individuals, families, and businesses. My vision to revitalize the economy in our state is to soften the working hours and environment, to bring us back from the giving 120% with little to no time and energy left for leisure or rest. I think we're a couple generations away from everything being available at our fingertips, living in the world of the future. like the Jetsons. Until we get there, while we get there, what kinds of things will people need? Those are the things the private sector should create and invest in. What will we need to outfit our homes, businesses, workplaces, communities, and travel routes? As governor, I will work to decrease the size of government to save money on its operating costs and responsibilities. We will have good laws and good people enforcing them. Our education system is trying to do too much. In trying to save operating costs, it has merged with social services. Bureaucracy has exploded to deal with the effects of this merger. Our government needs to pick a side, or give flexibility and trust the people we hire to do their jobs. If we separate education from social services, I propose we define achievement levels for elementary education. What should be achieved to attain an elementary level education or a high school level education? I think we should do it similarly to how we know what a technical college certificate, junior college, bachelor's degree, master's, and doctorate degree means. We should define achievement for elementary and high school levels and teach to that test. And also, students can demonstrate mastery of concepts in a variety of ways. Our education policy should reflect the flexibility for educators to test for concept mastery in a way that works for individual students. Or we should give local communities the freedom to use all available buildings and equipment for their communities. If we want to use existing school buildings for daycare, we should be able to do that. Year-round schools can help with the needs of low-income kids in communities across Kansas. Let's use our schools only for education, or give more freedom at the local level to use buildings and personnel to benefit the unique needs of communities across Kansas. I feel like the answers for our state lie in concentrating on and revitalizing equality under the law, protecting our environment, which will also stimulate the economy and help our economy recover and grow into the future. And we also need education reform in our state. It's half our budget, and it takes a tremendous amount of our people and resources to keep our schools open. Those are the things I would concentrate on as governor, and I feel like this is the right direction for our state. We've had people in our party and community advocating for rights that the government was starting to encroach on. I feel like we have secured Second Amendment rights. Fourth Amendment rights are being protected as opportunities to expose abuses in the police state are revealed. We're coming back and fighting against that. I'm a supporter of Second Amendment rights, the proper use and respect for the Fourth Amendment, and a return to constitutional principles, practicing operating practices in our state. I appreciate the support of everyone who has helped me get my campaign up and running and do all the little things that it takes to run a campaign. As a candidate, you will not see me being the traditional politician. I'm a mother of 4, and I stay home with my kids right now. I homeschool the oldest ones, and I don't have the capability to be a traditional politician. If you elect me to be your governor candidate, we'll run a non-traditional campaign. I have some funds arranged that I think would be used for advertising, the face, the name, the mission, the priorities of our party. I think we could run a new age campaign where we are not even a part of the discussion of the old politics, the way of old politics. Please consider what it might look like to have a leader in the new way, to not play the old games, and to support and advocate for a candidate who doesn't play traditional politics. And consider me as your candidate. Thank you.
Team Umbehr.
Wow, it's always hard to follow a great speech, and thank you, Tresa. That was a wonderful opening statement. I want to thank everybody that's come here today. You could be doing anything today, but you decided to take time out and come here. It's a commitment. You're here today, but you're not doing the other things that you might have wanted to do. I want to thank you for that. I want to acknowledge everybody that's brought us to this point. First of all, my wife. Can you wave? There you go. Of course, with everything we do, we have to be in agreement, and she is all in and has been all in for the last 36 years. The poor girl's jumped off every cliff we've approached, and so we jumped off a lot of them. But let me tell you a little bit about my background before I get into my vision for Kansas. It might make a little bit more sense about who I am. I was born in Great Bend. My dad was in the oil field. He had a chance to go overseas, so we grew up in Nigeria, Africa, Angola, Africa, and Singapore. We spent most of our growing up years in high school from 6th grade all to 12th grade. In high school, that's where I met, Mrs. Umbehr. First girlfriend, it just never ended, and it was wonderful. We got married when we were 19, and then moved back to Alma. Growing up overseas, you have a different perspective about what is important. American history class was like religion class. We lived in a totalitarian country, Singapore. There were no civil rights in Singapore, no free speech rights. And when we come back to the United States, we see this tremendous difference about the way it should have been and yet what this country has evolved to. And so I was always bugged by that. So when we got back to Alma and started raising our family, we got involved in the trash business. We were in the trash business for 17 years. It was great business, made lots of money, mom and pop operation. All my sons worked on the trash truck. But I was a government activist. I would attend meetings, I would write articles, I would do all this just heartfelt stuff. I could not sit still and watch a wrong going on. And that's just who I am. And so, it was just, that's part of my government activism, that I will not allow something to go on that I think is wrong without objecting to it. And you always put yourself out when you object to things. There's of course, pros and cons. But we eventually, we had a little trip to the Supreme Court on a First Amendment case. I wrote articles very critical of the county commissioners, and they were unaccustomed to being criticized. So they terminated the contract. The case ends up in federal district court on a First Amendment issue. Win, lose, win, lose. We finally get to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court rules 7-2 in our favor. Independent contractors working for the government have First Amendment rights. Wow, that was a difficult question, but apparently it was. So, but then afterwards, after a 5.5-year battle, it was just wonderful. I loved every bit of that lawsuit. Now Mrs. Umbehr, of course, she didn't love it. When it was over, I felt like, wow, there has to be more than this. And we hauled trash 2 more years, and my oldest child started going to college, and I'd only been to one semester of college up to that point, and dropped out. And so I was watching him going to college, and I'm thinking, I could be a much more effective government advocate if I was a college graduate, and then, in the back of my mind, go on to law school. So at the time, we were the classic entrepreneurs. We had a trash business, a restaurant, a car wash, an environmental company. Actually we just cut tires, but we called it an environmental company. But anyways, it was a good business, made lots of money, and normally you'd be satisfied with that. So I go to Mrs. Umbehr and I say, gosh, wouldn't it be great if we sell all the stuff we got and I go to college? And she says, come on, King. She said, we just got out of a 5.5-year lawsuit. And my response to that was, I know, we're out of it. I want more. So eventually she consents, and I go to college with my kids. A lot of fun. I don't recommend it, but it was a wonderful thing to go to college and on to law school. And I passed the bar in 2005, and I'm a criminal defense lawyer now. Fast forward to the present. I was a Republican most of my life because you're Republican, your father's Republican, and so, that's the way it goes, But I was so dissatisfied with the Republican Party. And they want my money, they want my time, but they don't want my opinion. And the ruling class of the Republican Party was very cliquish. You know, you have to pay your dues, you have to do certain things, and you have to be a certain kind, from a certain pedigree to have any influence in the Republican Party. And I hated that. My ideas were good. And so I left the Republican Party in August of 2013, researched what Libertarian was, and like almost everybody I know, Republicans, Democrats, Independents, unaffiliated, we all have the same views. We all have Libertarian views. Smaller government, lower taxes, more freedom, more liberty, less government intrusion in our lives. We all support that, irregardless of the party. So that's why I decided to run for governor of the state of Kansas, because we have an opportunity this year to do something fantastic. Kansas has been, the Libertarian Party has been active in Kansas for 42 years. Each time we have a gubernatorial election, we come up short from the 5%. If we get 5% in this election, we'll be the first state in all of the United States, in all 50 states, that have moved the Libertarian Party to a major party status. That Kansas will be rock stars in the political world if we can make that happen. But we need the right candidate. We need the right candidate. We need the candidate that's got the drive, the commitment, and truly the kamikaze mentality. Okay? And I say that because I'm all in. Okay? You got to know that about me. If I'm in, if I take a case, I'm all in. It's no tomorrow, and no surrender, no quarter. I also have a defect is I don't play well with others. I don't compromise. I take a lot of advice, but when the decision's made, it's made. And so we made the decision. We sold some land that was in our family for decades, because a kamikaze pilot, when he reaches his fuel threshold, has a critical decision to make. Is he going to, try to make it back to base? Is he going to commit himself to going past that point of no return? I've made that decision. We sold the land. We have the money. We're past the point of no return. We're going to make a splash. We're going to hit something big. And so my vision for the state of Kansas is we have to look at what the state of Kansas is most interested in. In order for us to win, I believe we're going to get 5%. I believe we're going to exceed 5%. I believe we're going to get 35%. We need 279,000 votes to win the governor of Kansas. I believe that's very doable. A little quick history. If you go back the last 9 elections, 5 of the last 9 elections, this Republican state put a Democrat in a governor's mansion. Why? Let's go back 12 elections. If you go back 12 elections, 7 out of 10. Docking twice, John Carlin twice, Joan Finney once, Sebelius twice. There's not a great track record. Here's a fun fact for you. 2 times in Kansas history, the Republicans in the state didn't put a Republican or a Democrat in a governor's mansion. They put it in populist parties. Zwingli in 1893 and John Leedy in 1897. Back then they just had 2-year government. So Kansas has a long and rich history that in November they are very, very independent. The party affiliations, the R, the Ds, the unaffiliated, the independents, even the libertarians, become less important. They're looking for a vision. All right, here's my vision for the state of Kansas. What's wrong with Kansas right now, politically? 2012, the legislature and the governor passed an income tax plan that allowed 191,000 people who run their own business, like me, run my own business, to pay 0 state income tax. 0. They pay no state tax to fund government. Okay, who funds government now? 1.3 million. The actual number is 1,320,920 W-2 income earners pay all 100% of the tax, while the 191 of us, free riders over here, we pay 0. In somebody's mind, they thought that was a good idea. Well, we have the perfect storm this time. Libertarians have a candidate in me that's willing to say, no, that's wrong. I can't reverse the law. I can't bring this 191,000 back on the tax rolls. That's never going to happen. But I can advocate to get that 1.3 million W-2 wage earners to a 0 income tax status. You betcha. And there's 1.3 million W-2 wage earners that are frothing angry. They're willing, they're motivated, they want to make a change this time. That's a kitchen table issue. That puts money right back on their table. It really does. Big issue. Now to do that, you know, there's some discussion about how much tax revenue the state would lose. One figure is 2.9 million, but that's kind of a soft figure because they collect that much money, but then they give some refunds back. So, you know, the best estimate now is $1.7 billion the state would lose in giving us 1.3 million this zero state income tax. Well, that's where the fair tax comes in. I'm a fair tax guy. I believe in fair tax, it's a consumption tax, and it'll happen. But let's just consider this. We put $1.7 billion back into these W-2 wage earners' pockets. They go out and they spend it, and they spend it, and they spend it, and every time they spend it, 6.15% sales tax comes on it. Go throughout the year, the additional income tax. Am I getting short time? Okay, I can't speak. The lawyers can't talk, you know, in a set amount of time. Other issues is government accountability. I am for school choice. I oppose Common Core, and government accountability is a super important deal, and I'm a strong advocate of the Second Amendment. I ask you to vote for me. Please come back, join my table. We can go into these issues more, but I tell you, this is a year for libertarians. Thank you.